Hey everybody, and welcome back to TriloByte Studios. This is Carl.
And this is Josh.
And today we decided that we wanted to talk about something a little different. Normally we like to argue when we do these types of discussions. Well, I like to argue.
I just sit there and look pretty.
Yeah. Normally we do at least like some sort of a discussion. But
I guess the word debate would probably be better.
yeah, it's like an open-ended debate discussion type thing. Normally, even if we typically agree on something, one of us will just kind of play the devil's advocate.
One of us?
It's mostly me.
It is you.
Well, normally I'll just play the devil's advocate and argue from the opposite side just so we get to work through the whole conversation. But today...
We're not one-minded.
Yeah, exactly. That way it's not just both of us saying, yeah, that makes sense, and then the video's over. But today we decided to do something a little different because I'm sure that some of you, at least if you've been with the channel and watching the channel, have seen our live fossil hunts that we do out in the field, where we went to, where is it again? It's past Wardensville. It's
somewhere in West Virginia. Lost Creek.
Lost Creek, that's right.
Which you do the joke every time we go there. I found it.
Well, we drive right past the creek. It's not lost anymore. It's right there. I found it.
But it's not on the GPS map. That's the funny part.
But when, and it was difficult for us to like do that at first. And so what we wanted to do with this video was kind of just give you an introduction to amateur paleontology and how to get into fossil hunting and fossil collecting yourself, no matter where you are. Obviously, there are some places where it's a little bit easier. Like if you're out west in Montana or in the Dakotas or Wyoming, you have access to all kinds of awesome Cretaceous fossils. But here on the East Coast, we're kind of limited to, pre-Cretaceous, pre-Jurassic.
Mostly fish.
Lots of fish, lots of plants, lots of arthropods, things like trilobites and things along...
Some mammals.
Some mammals, things along those lines. So let's just kind of talk about how we decided to go do that initially, and then how we evolved and learned as we went. So if you want to...
Well, I don't remember the exact how we got started. I think we were just riding around one day, and I looked it up on my phone that there was a public dig site nearby, and you literally did a U-turn right in the middle of the highway, and with the GPS coordinates, and we just went.
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, we at first, because my dad used to take me to this place when I was a kid, that wasn't too far from our house, and it was where basically a road had like cut right through one of the mountains where we live. And so on the weekends, sometimes my dad would take me down there, and we would look for fossils, mostly impressions. But of course, I was like 5 years old, so anything that looked even slightly not like a rock was all of a sudden a fossil to me. But we actually did find some fossils back then. So I remember I asked you, I was like, hey, do you want to just go look for fossils? And you were like, yeah, sure. So we went there and we didn't find anything. And then, yeah, we were looking it up on your phone, and we realized that it wasn't too far away from us. It was like a good 3-4 hour drive. But we did like a U-turn right there in the middle of the road and decided to go to the Lost River fossil site.
Which is open to the public. Let me just clarify that. Do not go just looking for fossils on someone else's land.
Yeah, don't do that. So wherever you go, make sure that, you are allowed to go there and check the rules to see if there are any types of rules to, about keeping fossils that you find. Because if you find fossils on public land, normally it's fine to keep it, but there are different rules for it. That first time we went... did we even find anything?
Yeah, we found a couple impressions in very small, very, very small trilobites, which then you had the idea later on to call it TriloByte Studios.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, we found
And you were mad as hell because I found the first trilobite.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, because like in the video, it was less than 5 minutes. We were there. And you were mad about
Yes. Okay, yeah, I remember that.
And then I pulled my back out and then laid on the dirt for like an hour and a half. And you're like, "Are you okay?" I went, "Yeah, just don't move me."
Yeah, so it balanced out. So yeah, that was like our first time going. Then we went to a place called Fossil Beach.
Which we went in January.
Well, that's because that was the only time we had free back then.
Yes. The only time we had off was in January, and we're standing knee deep in cold freaking water.
Yes.
Trying to look for a shark tooth.
Yes, it was worth it though, because we actually found lots of shark teeth.
But not the one we're wanting.
Yeah, not the megalodon tooth.
We missed out on megalodon.
And again, that's another public fossil site that we went to. This was all back before we even had the channel though. The only
that was like...
It was like 2019. No, like 2018?
Late 2018?
Late 2018, I think.
Yeah, because that was before my surgery. My first surgery.
And that was before I went to Germany.
Yeah.
So it was like late 2018. So before we had the channel, and we enjoyed doing that. It was a lot of fun, but we weren't very good at it. We didn't really have like kits or gear or anything like that. We just kind of waded out into the water, and like we had shovels, which was helpful.
I brought a shovel.
No, we both had shovels. We had folding shovels.
Having a shovel. I remember bringing a shovel, and you wanted to make little boxes, but they kind of fell apart.
Oh yeah, I didn't have time to make the boxes.
So my idea on the way there was just to grab like a small laundry bag.
No, it was butterfly nets.
Was it butterfly nets?
It was butterfly nets.
Okay. We filled that up, and then with the dirt or sand.
Yeah, and then sifted
it through, which worked wonderful.
Yeah, it actually did.
Until the freaking stick broke from the weight.
Yeah, and also the shovel, because it was one of the collapsing shovels, and the shovel, like the sand got stuck in it, so we weren't able to like close it back. But
that was fun.
That was all before the channel, and then when we decided to do the channel, the first video we did was the fossil hunting video, and by that point we kind of knew a bit more about what we were doing. Like we built some kits, we knew where we were going, we knew how to look for the type of fossils that we wanted to find.
Well, one thing that really helped with setting up a kit is before you went to Germany, we went to the Smithsonian, and they actually had on display a proper paleontology dig kit.
Yes.
And we took notes and photos, and I sadly lost those on my phone when I got a new one because I didn't upload them to Facebook beforehand. But we, went and saw, the lab and everything that they were prepping fossils and what type of kits they use, and that's what we kind of based ours on.
Yeah.
By the way, do not buy a rock hammer from Walmart. It unscrews the entire time.
Yeah, do not do that. But we...
Fun facts.
So we... well, I'll probably edit my kit here in post. Like, I'll just break it down and show everything that on screen. But just to kind of go through it pretty quickly, toothbrushes you want to keep in your kit so you can clean the fossils that you find if you do find
a notebook.
A notebook so you can make notes or take sketches if you're artistically inclined about the location you found it, or make a sketch of it if you want, if it's very brittle and you can't get it out of the ground.
Watered down glue that helps with brittle fossils.
Right, watered down glue to help with the brittle fossils. Tissue paper, so you've got something to wrap them in, or really just anything soft. If you've got like a very soft cloth, you can wrap them in a soft cloth. A carrying box, some sort of carrying box. It doesn't matter what type. I used a lot of old Yu-Gi-Oh tins because that's just what I happen to have. A small hammer. It doesn't particularly have to be a rock hammer, but really just any type of hammer works. You don't need a hammer with a point on it, because you can buy cheap chisels if you want to get precise.
I think we spent less than 15 for like a set of small 20 set at Walmart, didn't we?
No, we went to Harbor Freight.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And we got chisels, and they were like $4 for the entire set.
Yeah.
So you what else do we have in there? A little first aid kit, because you are out in the field, so you're gonna want.
And Carl gets splinters like crazy.
I get splinters like crazy. It's true.
Yeah, he didn't find many fossils, but he found a lot of splinters.
I did find a lot of splinters that one time. What else do we keep in there? A little water bottle if you want to clean the fossils. And I think that's everything for the kit.
I believe so.
So now, choosing your first location. That's an interesting topic, because we didn't really know what we were doing at first. Like I said, we just went to a place where I went to when I was a kid.
Well, if I remember correctly, the site of Lost Fossil was a Devonian site, and your favorite creature is Dunkleosteus.
Yes.
and you had a notion of how cool would it be if our first fossil found was part of a Dunkleosteus, which, yes, that would be great.
Would be very
However,
cool.
the site is known for only trilobites.
Right. Hey, but you never know.
Which is, again, why we call it TriloByte Studios and not Dunkleosteus Studios.
Right.
Which,
Also,
to be honest, it just rolls off the tongue.
Yeah,
better.
TriloByte Studios rolls off the tongue better, and I can make the pun with the BYTE, as in like a byte of data, you know.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. So now choosing your first site, we didn't know where to go, but after luckily we have a thing called Google now, which is
It helps.
It helps a lot because really you can just Google public fossil sites near me on any old search engine, whatever you use, Google, DuckDuckGo, I don't know, ask.com, is that still a thing?
I don't know.
I don't know, but you can just
Bing it.
Yeah, you could Bing it. You can just Google, public fossil sites near me, pick a site, and just go ahead and go. Now, there are some kind of rules of etiquette that you want to follow when you're on a site. Do you want to go over the rules of?
Be mindful of the surroundings, because most of these are in probably excluded areas, like of the woods or on open grassland, depending on if you're more Midwest. Know the wildlife and plants of the area, because you don't want to be, alone and get bit by a rattlesnake and you're a mile something from the car.
Or fall into a patch of poison ivy.
Like Carl did.
Or something like that.
Also, make sure you have a phone that is not going to drop a signal as much. I'm with AT&T. What are you with?
Also AT&T.
So where we were at Lost Creek or Lost River, which is it creek or river?
Lost River.
Lost River. We had somewhat decent coverage.
Yeah, our coverage was fine out there.
But if you go around the bend, it did drop.
It's kind of like hiking. You want to make sure that at least one other person who is close to you knows where you're going.
Yep.
Knows what time you're leaving, knows what time you're going to come back, knows that, if you're not back by a certain time and they haven't heard from you, that they should go ahead and, call the police. Nothing crazy, but...
Or go looking for you themselves.
Right, or come out and try to find you, and if they can't, then call the police. There's also certain rules that you want to follow when you're on a site. Be mindful of the things that you're touching and the places that you're stepping. The site that we're at, it's hard to be mindful of where you're stepping because it's all just slag. But I'm sure if you're on a grasslands, if you're out west or in a desert, you can look down and see if you're going to be stepping on something that looks mildly valuable. So be careful of what you're stepping on. And also, let's say you pick up a rock and you flip it over and you don't see a fossil on there. Just because you don't see something doesn't mean that somebody else with more experience won't. So don't just chuck the rock. Don't just huck it out into the middle of nowhere. Just kind of gently put it back down and keep on moving.
Well, also, what you take with you or bring with you, take with you when you leave. Don't leave your trash.
Yeah, don't leave your trash. Don't litter. I mean, I feel like if you're out there actively looking for fossils, you're probably like us, where we're a bit more environmentally inclined. We both like animals. We both like the natural world. And we want to keep it the way it is.
As much as possible.
Exactly. So I feel like if you're listening to this, you probably already are like that as well. So you're not going to be littering. But yeah, obviously, don't litter. Take nothing, or what is it? Take nothing but pictures, leave nothing but footprints. Except...
I guess.
Yeah, but you could...
I never heard that phrase.
No?
No.
Well, take fossils and pictures and leave nothing but footprints is basically...
So they can become fossils.
So they can be yeah, exactly. So after you've chosen your first site, you can follow the rules of etiquette. You don't necessarily need a kit, especially for the sites that you're going to. Like the one at Lost River, you really don't need a kit up there.
No, you just need a good pair of eyes.
Yeah, you just need a good pair of eyes and maybe some... Oh, gloves. We forgot gloves for the kit.
Yeah. Depending on where you're going, yeah, you probably need gloves.
And depending on the material you're working with.
Slag is very sharp, but yet very brittle.
Yeah, well, that's shale. The slag is like what falls off the cliff.
They're both the one or the same. So.
But yeah,
So yeah, gloves would be a good idea.
Gloves are a good idea as well. Like I said, some sites you don't really need a kit for. So if you wanted to do research on your site before you go. Like Fossil Beach, you kind of need some stuff to look for it.
It's going to be a hike from where you had to park.
Right, it's a hike from where you have to park, but also you're going to need a little bit of kit to look for things. Obviously, you're going to need something to dig up the sand. Then you're going to need something to sort through the sand with,
Unless
like
you're
a
that
sifter.
kid that a week later after we went pulled a megalodon out,
Yeah, just pulls it right out of the ocean.
which was in a news article on Facebook, and like a week later, and I'm
Yeah.
like, after we went, I'm like, are you kidding me?
But at Lost River or some other sites, you really don't need any type of kit. So judge your first site, see if you need a kit, and then if you need a kit, go ahead and make the investment. And only invest in what you really need. Like, you might not need chisels, you might not need a rock hammer, but you might really need water and toothbrushes where you're going, or something like that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I think it was in a documentary where they used actual paleontologists said usually the first site or first indication of a fossil area is just walking around and looking at the ground.
Yeah.
That's literally it. So if you do go your first time, just look around, be mindful of where you step, and then if you want to go back and be more invested, there are programs that you can join a true fossil team. Like I said, you can buy your own kits online or make them yourself and go have fun.
Yeah, have fun with it. That's another thing that we should probably mention, is just have fun with it. Find somebody who wants to go with you, or go by yourself. Take your dog, take your friend, take your grandma. She like the day out or something. Just go and have fun.
If she remembers who you are.
Yeah, if she remembers who you are, how to get to the car, and all that stuff. But I think that's going to probably wrap it up. Is there anything you wanted to add to it?
No, I don't think so. I think that covers everything. So this is Josh.
And this is Carl.
Signing off. Bye.